better. We're going to set up a GoFundMe service.
I'm not taking this one. This ain't got nothing to do with me. This one ain't got nothing to do with me. Nope.
But we want to jump right in. We want to jump right into our topic, deadbeat or derailed. And this is a topic, subject about fathers. We know and we hear a lot, especially in society and our culture and Black, about deadbeat fathers. But what I like to do is kind of dig a little deeper into the subject, and so I came up with the question: is it deadbeat or derailed? Because a lot of times men get called deadbeats, and that's not really the case.
I think that the system puts men in a very compromising situation where they got to make tough choices. And there's there's things that men go through that we don't even talk about. And for whatever reason, that man becomes distant. Once it's easy to judge when you ain't gone through nothing. And now that I feel like we kind of on the other side of that mountain, I was one of those judgmental types because, my cards, I had a pretty good hand. Some people ain't dealt with that good hand. But anyway, I'm kind of going all over the place to where there are a lot of factors and a lot of subtle factors, a lot of nuances and things that go on with a man when he's not around for his child. Am I making excuses? No. But for people just to kind of be like, that's his child, he should be able to do anything and it don't matter. Yeah, that he's still a human. He's still a man. And so I think this is a good topic so we can try to delve deep and have understanding from the woman's side, from the man's side, and just taking away just him being a father and him just being a human being, man.
Yep. I agree with what you're coming from. Like you said, that sometimes the court systems put us in a situation or in situations that we don't look to be in, but it ain't just necessarily the court systems as well. It's the females as well. Because even though we go through the court systems, sometimes there's underlying issues with that female as well, which like you was getting into before we get deep into the topic, which push us away from wanting to spend that time with the child because we don't want to deal with the female.
And then that's the thing, and you guys, you and Meen were talking about it on your show. There are times you got to make a choice between being with your child or having peace. And I'm sorry, once you get to a certain age, you can't put a price tag on peace, man. And
right.
I mean, I don't know, man. This is a very, very tough topic tonight because it's going to hit some buttons. It's going to trigger some things.
Well, I tell you what, man, because I have a lot to say, and I don't want to put carriage ahead of the horse. So what I'm gonna do when I address mine, what I want to do is I want to get our guests on because I really want to hear what she has to say because I have some questions.
Yeah.
I just really have questions that I need to ask. That I need to ask a female.
Yeah.
We can sit around and we can kick it back and forth in our head and go back and forth with it. But we can't answer those questions. We never been in that situation. We don't know that way of thinking, and everything else. So
and therein lies the problem right there, though. It's the lack of understanding on both ends, though. you know, they don't get us, we don't get them when it comes to certain areas. But you're right. At some point, we're gonna have a certain level of understanding, especially when the two people are not together. To me, that's that right there. When the two parents are not together, everybody can say all day long, "Oh, y'all need to co-parent and y'all come together and do things right." And that's easier said than done.
It's hard enough to co-parent when you're in the same house.
In a relationship. But it's real tough. That is real tough. We're coming from two different households, two upbringings, everything.
Yeah, don't even let me get on that because I might have to find somewhere else to go sleep tonight. And I mean, that's just what it is. Look, before, like I say, because I have a lot of questions, I have a lot to say. Let's get our first guest on. And what's that name again? Crystal?
Yeah.
Was that it? Am I saying it right?
No, you're saying it right. And then we have another one. I got one on hold on my radio station on Stationhead too. So we have two if we can get to them.
Okay. Let's see if we can. Let's try to get her on. Hopefully we won't have no. Okay. Well, I can see it. Can you see us, Miss Jones?
Yes, I can see you guys.
Well, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
How you doing, Crystal?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Great. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. That's
And
right.
so, I mean, I got to jump right into it. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. I mean, but when you brought up the co-parent, well, you brought up the co-parent. I'm like, it's hard enough to co-parent when you're married and you're in the same house, let alone someone 500 miles away saying it's okay to do something. You see what I'm saying? That's virtually impossible. But
what is co-parenting? Honestly, can you answer that, Ms. Smith? In a woman's eyes, what is co-parenting?
What is co-parenting supposed to be? Because I have
no. How do women see co-parenting? How does that supposed to, and how do y'all look at it?
Okay, so we look at it as two individuals, mother and father, splitting responsibility of the child.
Splitting 50-50. And decisions got to be made, and y'all both have a say. I have a 50% vote. She has a 50%, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
But it don't happen that way.
Okay. Here lies my first problem. As a husband, now I didn't say a man, but as a husband, head of the household, right? I think, and don't get me wrong, because I'm not some kind of dictator or anything, but I think that every major decision that is made about my daughter should be ran through me.
Agreed.
I think, and so also one of the things that I do is, because don't get me wrong, my daughter's 8 years old. She's super smart. She's been intelligent enough to know by the age of 3 that if you want something, you don't go ask your mama, you ask daddy, because I'm more likely to say yes. Mm-hmm. So that's what he does. So now the whole thing, well, if she asked me and you didn't tell me she couldn't do it, and I already told her she could, I'm not budging from that. She can do it. So an issue arises. And, you know, there, I'm sure you've been in the same situation, and Ms. Jones, you
stay in that situation.
You are in the same situation with your husband. So, and it just makes it, and that's what I'm saying. So that's difficult. So I can't be 300 miles away telling, you know, her, yeah, you can do it, especially if there's some bitterness there.
Well, my situation is different from you and the legend, because as y'all know, y'all nephew, he was in Kansas and I was here. Even though me and his mother had a good relationship, even though I had joint custody and all of that, I'd be crazy to think if he's 500, 700 something miles away, that the decision going to go through me. yeah, it's 50-50 through the courts of the law, but inside that house, his mother really running everything.
It's not 50-50 through the
Facts.
courts of the law. It's not.
Miss Smith, do you think that there's a natural level of lack of confidence and trust in that women have towards men in making decisions for the children?
I do think it's a lack of trust. Yeah, I do.
And that right there is the seed. That right there, that makes everything a problem because of that part.
Hold on, let her speak on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I need to hear, please.
I think it's a lack of trust because from a woman's perspective, you guys have the freedom to kind of walk away or to deal with the child if you want to or not. You know, children are naturally just wanting their mom. I mean, that's just what it is. They naturally just want their moms. You know, we grow the child in our stomachs for 9-10 months at a time. So, you know, they just naturally want their mom. So from a male perspective, from a woman's perspective, a man can walk away at any time, but a woman, that child is going to be attached to the hip. It's just like Otis was saying, you know, his child is so many miles away. Well, that mom doesn't have, you know, that mom is on the everyday hustle and bustle. She's not going to stop her day to say, oh, let me call Otis and see if he agrees with blah, 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 blah. She's making an executive decision for her household. So there's going to be times where, and it's hard for a woman to trust anybody. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, when it comes to the child, a woman just feels like she can care for the child. You know, like nobody, when you have a child, you always feel like nobody's going to love that child more than the parents. But from the mom's perspective, I mean, it's just an indescribable bond between the mother and the child. And it doesn't make it right that the mom feels like decisions shouldn't be ran, you know, through the father, or that the full trust is not there. But that's
what's our value then, Crystal? Well, what is our value then? What do we, when y'all look at a man as a father, what value do we bring to the table for that child? I'm not talking from you. I'm talking about, can you just speak for women in general?
Sure.
We're trying to get an understanding.
So I'll tell you like this. My father was very involved in my life, still is very involved in my life. My daughter's father has never been involved in her life. He didn't come to the hospital when she was born. He's never had a relationship with her. He's been in and out since she was born. I still to this day allow it when he wants it, because I personally believe that having a father is a very important thing because of how my father was in my life. I think if a father is present and presses his point to be present, there's a lot of value there. But I think that's up to the father to press his point that I'm going to be in my child's life. I mean, I have a personal family member that the mom was acting like she did not want to let him see his child. He had the court order and took a constable there. And she was very upset, but she was so upset to the point where she put hands on him in front of the police officer. He had the authority that day to send her to jail. He chose not to because his daughter was so hysterical about it. But I mean, I just think you have to really press your point to be present as a father. If it takes going that far, you got to go that far. So now he regularly sees his child. She has no problems with, you know, of course, now him coming to get his child because he had to go to those extremes. But as a father, you got to go there. If it's not being allowed, you got to go.
And you just speak in reality. You're not speaking from this is how you view it. This is the reality. We have to prove our parenting value in this.
I wanted. Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
I need to jump on that because y'all know my situation was different. I raised both of my sons. I was a single parent. Both of them went to high school, graduated high school, college, and so when I hear that it's easier for the father to walk away, then the mother, and I guess I look at my situation, so I can't, it's hard for me to get behind that.
Sure.
What we see a lot in our community, which is portrayed, and it brings me to my next thing, is you hear the saying, well, he should have fought harder to see his child. Why does he have to fight it out?
I wouldn't necessarily say fight, but I know, like personally, I did file child support on my daughter's father, and the main reason why is because I got, like the daycare, they wasn't waiting for their money. They wanted their money when the money was due. And so for me, I've talked to Otis and Dominique before, I make really good money, but at the same time, that's money for me and my expenses. My daughter's expenses, that's her father's child support goes to her. So for me, it's a very fine line. I don't think that men have to fight. I just think that when the parents decide they're not going to be there, that you have to take care of the business. The business is getting something down on paper so that one party cannot stop the other party from seeing the child. If you get it on a court order, that's to me what that's all about. I don't think that a father has to fight with the mom if him and the mom have a good rapport and a good relationship.
No, because I want to go into what we talked about last show. But so what if they don't have a good rapport? But child support is paid. He's through the court. Okay, case in point, the guy that got killed when he showed up to get his child, court order. So what she do? Send the child somewhere else so he wouldn't be there when he got there. And then so he gets into it with her, saying he's gonna call the police, this, that, and other. Her husband comes out, they get into it. He goes and gets a gun, he grabs a gun, he shoot him, kill him. But that type of thing is, the rapport. Listen, I don't think that a parent's, their relationship should affect his opportunity to be with his child. And it does a lot. There's no way no one can tell me any otherwise, because if she has it in, if that's a way to hurt him, women use it all the time. I'm sorry. I'm gonna back off because sensitive.
Let me say, Crystal, are good fathers paying for the sins of bad fathers?
I wouldn't say that. I would just say that, like I said, it just depends on the woman you procreate with. If you procreate with a woman that's going to make you pay for another man's, vice, that's just the woman you chose to procreate with. That's the reason why I don't complain about my situation, because that's the person that I procreated with. So that's something that I have to live with. And honestly, that's the reason why early on, that was my experience as a mom. Every time I went to go pick up my child, there was drama. I mean, I remember one time I went to Las Vegas with my sister. We came back. I went to pick my daughter up. And my daughter, I bought her just like a little Gucci diaper bag. It was nothing major. It was a gift from my mom. It wasn't anything that I bought. It was a gift from my mom. And I went to pick her up. And it was just drama. He just, he was like throwing her stuff on the floor. I guess he was thinking that I was using his money for that. I'm like, that was a gift from my mom. But it was just drama and chaos. And that's the situation that I was in, where I was facing drama. And I just had to tell myself, because my sister was with me, and she was like, hey, come to the car. Like, just come, I'll get her. I just told my sister, I said, I can't do this. I said, I cannot do this with him. I said, when I pick her up, there's going to be some protocols in place, because I'm not going to fight with him. And his fight was that I left. So it doesn't just happen to men where they face drama with their kids. It's women too, but it's the person that you procreate with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, I have two things. first off, one, when you said that you filed child support and you was explaining, you have the right to do that because for one, that is that man's responsibility as well. Well, how you spending the money or whatever you're doing with it, as long as that child is being taken care of and you ain't out just living extravagantly off the money, you have every right to do that. Secondly, I know you said that sometimes the woman don't trust the man. And do you think the mother loves that child just as much as the father does? Because I know y'all are protectors, but I can love my child just as much as you, but I may not show it like you show it.
And I think that's the thing is like a lot of times the actions behind the words, you know, women, we're action creatures. Like a lot of times we'll fall for what you say, but after a certain point, we want to see action. You know, that's why when you see when, you know, a lot of women, and this is off topic, but you'll see a lot of women when you say, oh, I'm not going to do that no more. And they say, okay, show me. That's the first thing a woman is going to say, show me. So a lot of times when you're talking about trust and stuff like that, yeah, sure, a father loves his child just as much as his mom. But, you know, it's just like that with a mom. A mom just feels like nobody can take care of her baby like she does.
Crystal, do you think this problem is with all races or this is just prevalent in the Black community?
I've heard.
You know you want
to be honest, I work with all races. And honestly, most of the time, I'm the only minority at the table. So I've heard this complaint from every race you can think of. A lot of times, other races don't speak up about it because they're not as boisterous as we are, but they are talking about it and chatting about it with their girlfriends.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of women, you know, there's a lot of times that women bite even though people think that, especially African American women, people think that we're boisterous and that, you know, we wear our emotions on our sleeve. We're very emotional, but there's a lot of things that we don't say off the strength of just not trying to hurt feelings or just trying to be decent or just trying to be a good person and not trying to tear a man down with their words. So it just honestly depends on who you procreate with. That's it.
Crickets.
Well, I was just, you know, I thought one of y'all was going to jump in, but
I have a lot to say. I'm just marinating everything that she's saying, man. And I do respect what you're saying, Crystal. And you're speaking from a personal perspective. You can't speak for every woman.
Sure.
But I do have to disagree a little bit when it comes to women, Black women, bad mouthing the men in our culture more so than any other race. And that's not to say that other women are not going through it, but
you can't necessarily say that because we don't know what the other races is saying and doing. We just know it because
yes, I do. Because I'm half Mexican, so I do know, and I have every right. So I can't speak on that. And at work, I do talk to a significant amount of Hispanics to get their say in this, and you know, they do say that they were raised to respect their husbands, fathers, no matter what. Now, behind closed doors, that's when it's going to go down. But in public, they were raised that way, you know. And I think that it's not about hiding, but it does go a long way about showing respect for that man as a father and a husband, keeping your business to yourself, not out there, you know, talking bad about him, the kids, they hear positive things. So regardless of what's going on behind closed doors, there's just a positive image. And I'm just using the Hispanic community. And again, they got their problems just like everybody else. But again, they have more of a reputation of being family oriented. And we have a reputation of being able to just, our family's just broken up, which we can blame systemically. We can go back to slavery. I understand that. But right at as far as what the topic is, what we're talking about now, as far as women bad mouthing the men as far as being bad fathers and this and that. Again, men have a responsibility. I mean, the shit go round and round, man. I mean, like, you know, what's first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, yeah, men got to get their stuff together. So if they get their stuff together, then the women wouldn't have nothing to say. But what about the men that is getting it together? Well, they got to pay the price for the men who ain't getting it together. So, I mean, I really don't have an answer to this because it's just pretty much frustrating me to even talk about it. I'm actually just talking through it because this is a very touchy subject.
Yeah, and I think like I have two friends, two specifically close friends that are dating Hispanic women, and their stories are different than what you're saying. They feel extremely disrespected. One of them is actually sleeps on the couch every night and just says that, you know, he feels like he just is ready to leave. He feels, I feel like the respect should be whether you're at home or whether you're in public. Of course, you want to keep everything private. I was raised in a household as well where what goes on in this house stays in this house, and it was nothing crazy. It just meant you don't talk family business. But like I said, I mean, I have friends of all races. I have friends who date, marry, everything else of all races. And it's not just one race. Every race has their vice.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
yeah, I agree.
I do have one question, Ms. Jones, and it's let me see how can I put this. The situation that you spoke upon earlier with your daughter's father. Do you think that you did everything that you needed to do in order for him to have a relationship? And I know you don't have to, now I'm not saying that for you that go out, call him, hey, no, nothing like that, because that needs to be on his side. But what I'm saying is, when you think back, did you throw any obstacles in his way of seeing his daughter?
I never did, mainly because, like I said, I was raised with both my parents. My parents, they're still married to this day, 36 years. So I knew the importance of a father. So for me, it was very important for him to know his daughter. So I too feel like what adults have going on has nothing to do with adult to child, parent to child. So yeah, I didn't put any obstacles in his way. I didn't make it hard for him to see her. I didn't even file child support right away. I physically told him in a conversation, hey, I'm going to give you X amount of time. Let's try this out for a year. And if it doesn't go as planned, these are my plans, just so that he wouldn't be, you know, kind of side swipe with papers and anything in the mail. So I was very communicative about everything when it came to her.
Okay. Well, I mean, but I think that we all can agree that that situation doesn't happen in most of the cases.
Right, that's an out. That my situation is an outlier, and that's always what I tell people. It's an outlier. For me, typically, I know a lot of good dads. I know a lot of good dads. I know a lot of dads that's taking care of their children. I have a lot of male friends that are rock star dads. You know, African American, every race, like I said. But specifically African American men, I have a lot of friends that are taking care of their children every single day. And you know, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. I think it's admirable when men step up to the plate and take care of their children. And I think more so because I don't have that, that when I see that, I just think it's an amazing thing.
I think generationally, we're in a vicious cycle because subconsciously children are growing up hearing negative things about either the dad or the mom. And I'm just speaking about our community.
Sure.
Say, man, hey, that's my play sister. Don't y'all believe that?
You might have got say that Otis over child support.
I saw that.
Oh boy, that's cold. Hey, you see, hey man, see, now y'all got money. Oh man,
Maybe it wasn't the best topic, huh?
yeah, man. You see now. And we got Kinfolk K. Bill. He put a long post up.
Yeah. We really but yeah, and I knew I was waiting for him to jump in and say there was a human issue and not a specific race. And but that's not what we're saying. But what we are saying that it's you hear it more with us,
with the African Americans.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like what when we talked about with the man bashing. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen because I know that it does.
Yeah, you hear it more because we the ones putting it out there, much like we do with our own music.
And then the thing is, I think it becomes a generational curse because, like you were saying earlier, if you have that mother that's bashing the daddy, and if it's a young lady, when she get older, she think that's okay. Or if she at mid-age, 16, 17, if it's her little boyfriend, she gonna bash him if she find out he doing something because she's hearing it from the mother.
I think that when it comes to children, as parents, we have to be careful, kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the scene on the TV show. We have to be careful with what we expose them to. Now, don't get me wrong. After they reach a certain age, they're going to do what they're going to do. And that was kind of like with a subject that we had about who has more influence, a parent or their peers. Because, once they hit a certain age, they can come tell you about some stuff and you be like, what? And so, but yeah, I guess it goes back, raise up a child, so
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But I don't.
Man, topics like this can get exhausting, bro. Because we can go on for days.
And it's an ongoing thing, it's an ongoing situation. And like I said before on some of our shows, I just don't never think it's gonna stop. It's gonna always happen, it's gonna always occur, and we're gonna get the short end of the stick. Yes, we do have beautiful and good women like Crystal that, hey, I'm not gonna even go through that. You're gonna pay the child support. If you choose not to be in the child's life, then so be it. My child's still gonna be raised good, still gonna get their education, and I'm gonna make sure that they be a good person in society. But we don't have all women like that. They'll get around their other friends, they'll hear about their bitterness, and then they putting that same bitterness on us. When, like you say, now I'm gonna step back, and now I'm not being in my child's life, which is not fair to the child. But I don't want to deal with you. It ain't my child. I don't want to deal with you.
But see, I will say in regards to that, I will say I don't think that men should give up that easy because, and I'm not, I don't mean that easy like that. I mean, why give that person power to take away the experience with your child? Like I said, if you got to get a constable, I personally had a family member to do this. I know it's drama, and before, this family member actually, thought about it, it was like we were like, no, you need to take the constable to the house and get your child. It's not fair that you don't get to see your child. He had that attitude initially, and then when we started pressing the issue, we were like, no, this isn't right. This is not right. Why should a mom say if you can see your child or not? It's just not right.
But a
So
lot
I think that fathers should push the envelope. Go get the constable if you have a court order, and go get your child. Don't
but
let the mom take over and have that kind of control, even if it is, even if she doesn't like it. The order is very specific.
but see, you said the court order, which now again comes back to money. The attorney general does not enforce your right to see your child. You have to get a lawyer, go before a judge, and have that order put in place. So that right there deters a lot of men, especially if you have someone who really don't have the money from the beginning. I mean, with the child support being taken out, I mean, we don't know what kind of financial bind that puts them in. And not saying that the child puts them in a bind, but having that money there taken away, then you have to pay what a lawyer, what a $500, at least $500 retainer fee or whatever it is to even take the case.
Right. And I know for my child support order, it was very clear. It was like you pay this every other Friday at 6 o'clock, pick up at 6 o'clock on Sunday, drop off. It was very specific. He didn't have to pay for a lawyer. It was a mediation and it was very civil.
But
See, I think a lot of people think that they have to pay. They need the money.
That though, they'll tell you if he came to get a 1 weekend and you said, well, now we gonna do something this weekend, it's nothing he can do. He can go back and they're gonna say, no, we can't enforce that. You're gonna have to get a lawyer. That's because you chose to follow the rules. Not every woman is going to follow rules, just like not every man is going to follow the rules.
Well, that's why, like we told our family member, take that child support order and go pick your child up, because that's all he took to the constable in order to pick his child up.
So what's the solution? How do we fix this?
I think number one, and I say we because I'm in the same situation as you guys are in. I think we, like I said at first, need to be more careful with who we procreate life with. I think number two, I know that a lot of men don't want to put those people in their life, or however you say it, but I think that men should fight for, put themselves on child support. And I think in the court order, have the mediation to specify when they can pick their child up and drop them off. And I think if the mother doesn't go along with the order when it's your time to see your child, I think you should enforce the order through constable or whatever they have police wise for you to pick your child up. I definitely don't think you should throw your hands up, get frustrated, and say you don't want to deal with the mother anymore, because at the end of the day, that's still your child.
You know what, Krista, you said
And you
something
still
very
want to see your child.
and you said something very interesting that I had brought up on our show once before, and my co-host, they was like, man, I didn't even know that. A lot of men don't know that they can go file on themselves. Now you're taking that power away from the woman. Then once you go file on yourself, then I think the judge will look at you in as more respect and say, okay, you're trying to take the responsibility, so I'm not really going to try to hit you upside your head. So I was one of those individuals that did. Yeah, I was one of those individuals that did that. But on the same sense, on the opposite side of that, I was telling my co-host once before, the courts was calling my son's mother and was trying to make her file to get more payment. And she was a good, big shout outs to my son mama. And she was a big advocate of saying, no, I'm not going up on child support. He do everything I asked him to do. But they was trying to pressure her to really try to beat me out of my pockets.
Yeah, and I will say, especially speaking from when I went, they are pro mother at the child support office. They are.
I'm glad you admitted that.
No, I will be very transparent with that. No, I mean, when I was there, I was blown away. I mean, again, I'm not thinking that I'm ever going to be in this situation from the beginning. So when I went there, I don't know what to expect. I'm very responsible with my life. I don't know what to expect. So when I go there, it's like he tries to say something, and she's looking at me like, so what are we doing? You want that to happen, or what? And it was not in his favor at all. And I just said, whatever the calculation is, that's all I want. I don't want anything above what I should be getting. But I will say that when I watch Judge Mathis, he always tells fathers, do not give mothers money. Go file child support on yourself if you're not going to be with the mom. Because anything that you give the mom is considered a gift. She could literally say, he's not giving me anything. Y'all get into an argument, 10 years go by, you've been taking care of your child for 10 years. She could literally say no, because they asked me at the child support office. They said, do you want to backdate his child support to when your child was 0 years old? Or I mean, like, they were negotiating with me, like, Mom, what are you going to do? What are we going to do?
I believe it.
And he was just sitting there feeling defeated. He was just sitting there like, wow. I mean, do I get anything?
And a lot of people don't know, even when they marry, they feel like, since we married, I don't have to pay child support. And they don't look at it as in, go ahead and file, put it in a trust fund or a CD bond or whatever the case may be, and you still providing for that child. God forbid that you ever get in a divorce or breaking up or whatever the case may be. But that protects you in the long run. So when that kid becomes 18 years old and we get a divorce and you file child support, the coach can say, you know what? Otis already had something set up when that kid was born on such and such date.
So now when I get married, now I gotta go ahead and plan for the divorce.
But brings me up to something I want to ask, just your opinion on. So how do you feel? And we talked about this before because you see it a lot. Let's just say that you have a man and a woman, they're married. Been married 15 years, right? They have a 11-year-old son, right? They file for divorce. Father wants a paternity test. Has it, comes back that it's not his child. Do you feel that he should still be forced to pay child support just because of the prior situation with them being married, him claiming the son, the boy as his son?
Absolutely not. Unless he wants to proceed with doing that. Unless he feels like he's grown a bond with that child and he wants to do that, but he should not be forced to do it.
But the courts would make him still pay child support. Because they'll say he took on the role as the father, and they would make that man pay child support.
Well, and it just makes, I think that it's hard to say that DNA testing should be mandatory at birth. I'm not going to say that, but I think it should be. Anytime before you can file child support, I think that should be mandatory.
That should be law. Y'all heard it first, right there on the upper room.
Yeah, that should be law. You can't do it at birth because, being honest, you might have the wrong dude up there to take it to. So,
yeah, I know.
I mean,
when I went to child support court, they did ask him if he wanted a DNA test.
But yeah, so
because that's where he was coming from. He was like, y'all doing all this and y'all don't even know if this child is mine. And they were like, sir, what we're not going to do is that. If you want a test, please request one and you will have to pay for it, but you can get a DNA test if you want it. And he was like, well, no, it's mine. He was like, well, no, it's mine. I'm just saying. And she was like, okay, so stop playing with me like that.
See, a lot of guys don't want that test because if it do come back not theirs, now they feel embarrassed as hell. I'd
rather be embarrassed than be paying thousands of dollars to let some other joke out.
Yeah, again, you got to know who you're procreating with. I would hope that that people would know, who the father is, and I would hope that if the father didn't feel comfortable, that he would get a test. I think that fathers should be able to get a test if they don't feel like they're 100% sure that the child is theirs.
Well,
I have a question. I have a question for you, Kristen. We brought up this question on my podcast last night. Let's just say I'm messing with this woman. We're agreeing, we having sex, whatever the case may be, but we never talked about having a child. Yeah, we're not using protective sex. It's my fault as well as her fault. But now we have a child. But now I'm distancing myself away from her. I'm not feeling her like that. And she filed child support on me. Okay, you file child support on me. A lot of times women, in my opinion, do that because they think that's going to bring the man back. You file child support. I'm paying for the child support. But I didn't ask for this child. Yeah, it was my responsibility. I'm going to pay the child support. I'm not really trying to be in that child's life. Should that parent keep pressing that man? Because I already told you this ain't what I asked for. Yeah, it's my responsibility. You filed on me, I'm paying. But just because I don't want to deal with them, now you out there talking about me, but you ain't telling them the whole story. You ain't telling them that this is something we playing.
When you say pressing you, what do you mean by that? Like
why you ain't trying to see your child? Yeah, why you ain't trying to see your child? This is your son or your daughter. Why you don't come around?
I mean, that's the tough spot to be in because I don't feel like you should be sleeping with somebody unprotected if you don't want to have a baby with them. I think it's kind of hard to say after the fact that you don't want to have a child with somebody, that you just want to pay child support. Again, I think it's very serious, and it's a lesson that I learned in my own life. If I'm being transparent, I think you really have to watch the people that you are with unprotected, because you just don't know what the person might do. And if somebody is telling you off the rip that they don't want to take care of their child, that's I mean, it is what it is. My daughter and I had a conversation, yesterday or earlier today, and I was telling her, as in regards to her dad, we can't make people do things. We can't make people do anything. The only thing you can do is keep doing what you're doing. But if I was in that situation and somebody didn't want to be a part of their child's life, it is what it is. That's the situation I'm in right now. It is what it is. I'm not going to harass you. I'm not going to force you to do anything. I'm not going to try to convince you of how great our child is. It is what it is. I'm just going to keep pressing forward doing what I'm doing. That's really all you can do. Because honestly, when you're in that situation, you can drive yourself crazy trying to be worried about why somebody else is not doing what they should be doing.
So the solution right now, and you keep saying it, is really we need to take it seriously who we messing around. And that's pretty much going to knock out the casual sex thing, because I mean, basically, yeah, I guess we just got to take it a lot more serious. Because I can't come up with nothing else.
That's the start of it, is us. And I say us, men and women, because I am in the same situation as well. I think it's us taking accountability, number one, for who we procreated with. And I think number two is learning the lesson. I only have one child. Is learning the lesson and being responsible with that lesson, as you move forward in who you procreate with. Because once you procreate with that person, regardless of if you want it or not, the smoke is coming. I mean, that's why I say the damage is done. I mean, it's like you can't go back once the child.
I mean, so there goes one night stands, huh? I mean, who really has the time to do a whole research of that person?
You can marry somebody, right? You can be married to somebody, and once it's over with, they can flip on you.
Sure.
So,
crap.
Yeah, I mean, damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, and I think it's just having a positive attitude when you approach people, but just being aware, like I said, of who you're putting yourself around. If this person, pay attention to their habits, pay attention to their routines, pay attention to how they move, pay attention to how they talk about certain topics. Like, bring this topic up with them. and how they respond, their responses to some of the things that you're talking about. That'll kind of let you know how a person is, but you're never truly going to know how that person is until you get into that situation with that person, until you face with that person versus you, and y'all not in a good space. That's just, it's no other way that you're going to find out.
That's how I'm gonna start coming at women where it's at the club, man. I'm gonna have like a
What you gonna tell them?
I'm
What
gonna
you
have
gonna
a
tell them,
whole
baby?
questionnaire for them. I'm gonna get everything. I'm a profile. I'm gonna get everything.
Well,
Mindset, spiritually, emotionally, mentally.
You should be doing that. Yeah.
I'm gonna piss them off on purpose just to see how they respond. I need to see their emotional reaction. All in the same night.
They gonna think you crazy, dude.
Let me ask you this. At this point, why would you be having any more children anyway?
Me
That's a good
personally,
question.
I'm just asking. I'm not talking to a legend. So
Oh, me?
Yeah. Why would you be having any more children anyway?
Oh man, shit happens, man.
Oh,
I ain't gonna sit up here in front, man. That's what it is.
Hey, Crystal said you should be able to protect the sex if you ain't procreating, man.
yeah. Well,
See, you ain't listening to nothing she just said.
dude.
Normally we giving people the game. She just gave you some game, and you don't even you talking about shit out.
Well, I'm the one that's giving the game. At this stage in life, why would you?
Yeah, you damn near 60 years old.
I don't think at this
Why would you
age
be
nobody's
testing
planning
anyone
to
to
do
see how
it.
they gonna react if you have children? Why would you even be having children at this point? Grandchildren, mate.
Stranger things have happened, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying that things don't happen, but
Yeah.
to me, that seemed like you out,
being reckless.
checking the water because you want to fish.
Yeah.
Hey, Boudreaux, I can't answer the phone, brother. You got to come on through the show.
But anyway,
Yeah, we're not trying to procreate just to prove theories. We want to learn our lesson. That's the thing. It's like we want to learn our lesson and make better choices in 2022.
Hey, K Bill say the legend is raw.
He said, I like it.
Hey, and Monica say the legend want to keep having the same red table talk. So you don't get it, man.
I was just asking. And, I was just asking. But no, seriously, I think that it's just kind of something that we all need to come together on, especially as parents, because at the end of the day, it's almost, the child suffers. But you hear all the time, right? The child suffers from it.
Hey, my bad. Carrie killing us, man.
Yeah, hey, KB on you, dog.
You're trying to get him one. Somebody gonna make that pump out enough of them.
You say that's the legend retirement plan.
But if that plan keep failing, he ain't gonna never be able to retire. So you gotta look at it both ways.
I have no plans of retiring, bro.
So,
Yeah, I think right now it's just and this is just me speaking. I think right now, it's too much of a gamble to have a child or procreate with somebody that you really just truly don't know. I think that in 2022 and beyond, you have to really, really, really try to get to know people. You have to really, really have conversations. Like I said, bring up conversations of subjects that you want to get feedback on. Pay attention. I heard a guy say the other day, he was at a restaurant with a beautiful woman. Date was going great conversation, but she was rude to the waiter. And for him, that was a turnoff. It's like pay attention to things like that, when it comes to getting to know people, because people will show you who they are. Trust me. They're going to do something. They're going to say something.
Sometimes they will show you what you want to see too, right?
I mean, yeah, but that night she did everything right, but that one thing. So, you can only fool people for so long.
No wise too. Okay. All right. Otis, you said we had another guest.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on, let me see if she's still on.
Really
Let me unmute her right quick.
You're gonna be a tough act to follow, Crystal.
Miss Lady, are you still there?
I just want to be fair. Like I say, it's we, because I'm in the same boat. I ain't no better than nobody
Lady,
else.
are you still there? Well, I see that she on, I guess.
Stepped away.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that being said, we'll go ahead and take a break.
Hold on, before we do that, man, what you forgot to do, you forgot to have Miss Crystal to introduce herself. Where's she from?
Man, we're an hour late, huh?
Yeah, well, hey, he didn't do that in the beginning.
Well, you had the opportunity to do that just like you're doing now.
well, Miss Crystal, they're gonna put it all on me, just like with the technical issues, which was the legend's fault. But before you go, we'd like to say we really appreciate you coming on the show. We hope you join us again for whatever show we have. But could you go ahead and give us a little insight on you? I know you got your new business up and off the ground. If you would like to introduce that as well.
Oh, sure. So my name is Crystal. Otis and Dominique are my family. I originally from Houston, Texas. Just a regular down to earth person. I did just start a business in 2021. So I started a business called Six Figure Single Moms. My passion is teaching single moms, empowering single moms, enriching single moms. And so my slogan is, it's not about the money, it's the mindset. And it's just teaching them how to get into a better mindset, teaching them about budgeting, teaching them about saving, teaching them about lifestyle, because I believe that when single moms are happy, then everybody else is happy. Their kids are successful, they're not bitter, they're not stagnant. They're not upset, they're not angry. When they have a good quality of life, I feel like it affects the whole household. So it's all about positivity and all about awareness, being self-aware. Because a lot of times, like we talked about tonight, when the mom is not happy, she's gonna try to wreak havoc on everybody else. So it's just empowering single moms and just showing them a better way.
And how can they follow you on any of the social media platforms?
Oh, yeah. So on Instagram, my personal Instagram is Miss_Dimple85, MZ_Dimple85, and my business page is Six Figure Single Moms. The Six Figure Single Mom. So you guys can check the page out if you know any single moms that need to be empowered, whose lives need to be enriched. If you have cousins, sisters, aunts, mothers. Nobody's too old to learn. I do hold a bachelor's and a master's degree as well. So I'm all about, like I said, empowering, educating, and enriching the lives of single moms. If there are single dads as well, because I had some friends that were like, hey, we single dads too. You guys are more than welcome to join single dads as well. But it's just about empowering single parents overall. Because again, when we're happy, when we're enriched, when we're educated, our kids are as well.
And before you go, the legend unfortunately didn't choose to go to the same college that we all went to. He's not a Bearcat, but we ain't gonna hold that against him. My cousin is a Sam Houston State University Bearcat alum.
I am a Bearcat and a Tiger.
Look, why you put your head down, legend? I just told the truth.
Because it never was an option. Crystal, you were awesome. Thank you. You really gave us some good perspective, good insight. Something for me to chew on. We didn't come up with no good solutions that I feel like is effective. Like you say, we just gotta be able to try to figure out if that person is a good person or not, or they're gonna work out. I don't know, but.
Yeah, and I think change the mindset and just be optimistic. When you meet somebody, give people a chance. But like I said, pay attention, but still give people a chance.
Yeah.
All right.
Gonna hurt the pimp.
Okay, well, with that being said, we'll go ahead and go to break. Then we'll come back and wrap this thing up.
Awesome. You guys were awesome. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right, Miss Smith.
Not a problem.
All right, we back. Upper room, Deadbeat or Derailed. We're gonna go ahead and get ready and wrap this thing up. Zeke, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Because we can't see you.
We got some people we want to thank.
Yeah, man. What we're gonna do right now, we're not gonna give a lot of shout outs to people that we've been giving shouts out to, because on this platform we do have to pay bills. So now we're gonna start sending out sponsorship packets, which Miss Crystal Smith, that was on our show, going to help me get that lined up. But with that being said, we will give some shouts out to Bench Bullion, Busy Bee Cap Stand, Element 7 Salon, Fortray Photography, Kimball Anderson, Darnell Bennett, 4-Minute Offense, and Tommy Napoli, Personal Chef, as well as Picture Perfect Photography. My bad.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up with some closing thoughts.
You want me to go first, Legend, or you got it?
Go ahead.
Well, first off, before I get into my closing thoughts, I want everybody to know that we do have deadbeat dads out there, and we also have deadbeat moms out there. But deadbeat dads make up almost 6% of those who do not pay child support, which we kind of touched on today. Custodial mothers, we see that deadbeat dads account for only 7% of our population. 3.5% of the deadbeat fathers cannot be located, which, you know, they probably hiding or probably not getting jobs, because if they're getting jobs, they're going to show with the government and they can be found, which is included in that 7. What's that?
So the mother don't know who he is.
Right. Yeah. Which is included in that 7% figure. My thing on deadbeat dads, sometimes you be having fathers that are in situations that they don't want to be in. And it's not necessarily that they don't want to be with their kids or have a relationship with their kids. Some of them problems evolve in with the mother. And as I said before, sometimes we lay up with people that we don't have no intentions on having a baby with. Yes, it's our fault, because we should be having protective sex. And like Ms. Crystal said, these are the conversations we should have, which I know a lot of us don't. So until we start doing that, letting that individual know what we want, what our expectations are, we're going to continue to find ourselves in the same predicament. And I know the Legend had brought up, like, how can we change it? How can we fix it? In my opinion, I'm not being biased or anything like that. I just think it's not going to happen, because a lot of times we're looking for that outer appearance and that fix. But then when we get that fix, we're not willing to accept what can come with or after that.
Yeah, I have to agree with the freak, the father. Unfortunately, I do agree with you, bro. And I get frustrated when I can't come up with a solution. So my final thoughts are really not that final, King. I don't know what to do. It's such a hairy situation, because it's so. I mean, there's so much to blame. I mean, you can go systemically, you can go government, you can go race, you can go gender, you can go culture. I mean, you can't just put it on one thing. It's very fluid. It's a very fluid situation. And like I say, I know we crack jokes about it, but yeah, I mean, you know, it takes away that whole human side of meeting up with somebody and something happens. You know, that's the whole thrill. That ain't gonna stop. That's been going on since day one. You know,
Gotta have.
I mean, you know, if you want to go in biblical times, what you think they did?
With no child support.
No, what they have to pay lambs and goats and stuff. I don't know, man, but I really don't have a good final thought. I really don't. I guess, you know, you can't even say that. You know, Crystal was making a lot of good points, and she was saying, like, yeah, you gotta watch who you procreate with. And then I go back to what you said. I mean, after 10 years, I mean, what if they checked all the boxes and all of a sudden things change, man?
Or they leave the relationship bitter. Now they want to hurt you. But they say kick dog gonna yell, huh? But
that's all I got, man.
Well, I think that it's all a work in progress. And as parents, you have to put your feelings and egos aside when it comes to the child. Yeah, you might not like that person. You might hate them, hate the ground they walk on. But if your child is that important to you, you have to realize and understand the importance of having both parents in their life. So you can't sit and say that my child means the world to me, except for when it comes to me getting back at her dad, me hurting her dad, or me hurting her mom, or whatever the case may be with the situation, if the situations are reversed.
Right.
You know, so I think, you know, that's not really taken into account, thought of by that person who's doing that, who wants that control, that power. Yep. You know, since I couldn't force you to stay, I'm gonna have control over you in other ways. Basically, what it boils down to. You know, I seen a little skit the other day with a dude. He showed up, pick up his son, and she was like, "Oh, you got a new car? Oh, I ain't getting enough child support. New shoes? You know? Oh yeah, you know, it's funny and we laugh at it, but that's the mindset of some people."
And then the crazy thing is they so worried about that I got the new car and the new shoes, but you trying to go get a knockout Birkin bag, or you worried about getting your hair done or being in a bodysuit at the club. But just because I got me something to be able to get to work in or look nice today to picking up my child, you got a problem with it because you didn't get no money in your pocket.
Damn.
Well, you getting the money, and it's just all about how you use it. You know, once that money leaves, it's taken out of, you know, your paycheck and goes into that household. It's spent the way that it's gonna be spent. There's nothing we can do about it.
But you know what? I got something for you, King. After the 18 years of me paying child support, and you know that you can't get that anymore, now you're not pressing me that problem.
I need to turn down their phone.
That may be me over here.
So,
that's what I understand.
Well, I just think that there, like I said, there's work to be done on both sides. There's also work to be done with the child support system. It's heavily flawed. It needs to be almost torn down completely and rebuilt. But you know, hey, who am I?
But we know that ain't gonna happen though.
You know, it really is. You know, I mean, it does. It needs to be revisited.
I see that happening before we get our act together as a community. I see that happening way before then.
That's a whole nother story right there.
I mean, so
anyway, we appreciate everyone for tuning in, giving us 2 hours of your time. You could have been somewhere else, but you chose to be here with us. We definitely appreciate Miss Crystal coming on, taking the time to share her story.
It was great.
Really one of our better our better guests.
Good.
Got a point across in a non-argumentative way, but got a point across nonetheless. So we really want to thank her. I think what we have to do again is just put egos aside and, you know, the I'm gonna get them back mentality. Focus on the child, and I think that a lot of this will go a lot better than what it is. But anyway, that is the show for tonight. We're gonna work on Zeke getting a better internet because he's been sitting in the same position. Maybe
that's legend. The one talking about I can't hear. He doing all this.
Yeah. So
that didn't have nothing to do with the fact that you've been frozen for an hour.
No, man, come on now.
Hey, you asked. So like a mannequin. So with that being said, we